Hello, everyone. Welcome back. For those of you who have been here before, always a pleasure to be with you in this energy. And for those of you who are new, my name is Z. I'm a seer, musician, philanthropist, and I'm extremely psychic. My clairs are very developed, and so I have dedicated my time to now teach people how to develop their own, so we can come together as a better collective and keep ascending and keep growing and lift the frequency of love, which we are so needing in this world right now. And for today, I'm actually going to be going over 3 main tips to develop your clairsentience. And these are my absolutely top 3. I feel like I have like 20 to really help folks out, which is why I started Z's School for the Gifted, which starts tomorrow if you're interested. But clairsentience is one of the clairs that can be extremely powerful, but can also be the most abused, in my opinion, because it's so heavily connected to your emotions, and it's really easy to misinterpret information or to use information against other people based on emotions, because you can feel someone else's emotions, know things about them without their permission. It's very similar with the other ones, but emotions can be a lot harder to, I wouldn't say use ethically, but I mean like tap into and help people heal, because many of you are healers and activists, and artists and things like that, especially folks on my TikTok. And we use our gifts to help heal people, and so being able to feel what someone else is feeling or know what someone else is knowing is very powerful, and so we have to be able to use it ethically. As I always say, with great power comes great responsibility. So I just wanted to share that for anybody who is extremely clairsentient. It's also very different than being empathetic. Like it's like they're really similar and they run side by side, but being clairsentient is a lot stronger because it's about a flow of energy. So I wanted to go over the first one. When you're developing your clairsentience, the first thing you need to do, or if you're learning to, or if you do have it and you're like trying to figure out how to use it correctly or not feel overwhelmed, the first thing to do is to do your generational healing. So work with a healer like myself or other, ancestral healers that can really help you release any old mindsets, traumas, people, things in your environment that are triggering you. Because the biggest thing with clairsentience is you need to be able to distinguish the difference between your emotions and someone else's emotions and not project onto them, which a lot of people do without knowing. Or you could be picking up on someone else's energy next to you and then you project that through yourself to someone else. So you have to know the difference. And honestly, like, even if you're going to therapy, which I'm still a woman of science and there's many spiritual therapists, I highly recommend it. A lot of people who do my generational healing journey are also seeing therapists at the same time, because they're very different avenues. And you don't have to choose one or the other. You can do them simultaneously depending on what your preference is. And like a good example would be, like sometimes I see this with tarot readers, is they will project their own feelings of loneliness or separation or heartbreak into their own tarot readings for someone else. And you can almost feel it. And that's why it's good to be clairsentient, because you can feel the shift of when it's actually coming from a flow of energy versus when it's coming from a flow of traumatic energy and emotions from the other person. So healing is going to be one of the most important things that you can do in order to develop your clairsentience, because if you don't know who you are, if you don't know how you operate in the world, aside from your trauma, aside from feeling overwhelmed and anxious or having PTSD, which, I've experienced all of those things. you don't know what your clairsentience can do, and you don't know how to correctly interpret information. Which brings me to my second one. So the second one is you really need to master the state of detachment through meditation. So, you know, I work really closely with a lot of my teachers, and one of the things that we always master is mastering no thoughts and mastering detachment, not in the sense where you're like detached in life and you're just disassociated. It's you're able to drop into such a deep state of observance that nothing can bother you. You can sit in meditation and it be completely silent. No thoughts, no nothing, no anything. It's just, you know, in some cases we meditate with the light, right? A light, bright energy, and that's it. Like nothing else goes on. And so I highly recommend that you do that, because you can't sense anybody else's emotion unless you are one, clear-headed, and two, can flow with energy, meaning you can merge with energy around you, right? That's how clairsentience works. That's how all the clairs work, because everything is energy. So when you yourself become the embodiment of just energy, and you can flow, right? Like, because it's a communication, you can flow out of your body and you can allow energy to flow through you without feeling overwhelmed. Then you can do clairsentience. Then you know you're going to be really, really accurate and things like that. And with time, you'll notice, and I'm going to be teaching folks who have more advanced clairs, because you'll notice that eventually they all merge together, because everything is energy. But in the beginning, sometimes you need to develop your clairs one by one so you can actually focus on it and understand what it feels like to not use that clair and to use that clair at the same time. Because in the beginning of your journey, you're really releasing your ego and your mind, and so you have to be able to quiet it, and then you can interact and see what you can do. And then from there, your clairs work together like a giant pizza, like a giant pizza, and then they're all feeding you information at one time. But you have to build up the energetic stamina and communication to be able to get to that stage, because it's extremely, extremely overwhelming. And you know, I also recommend even sometimes not necessarily working with certain herbal medicine in order to open up your clairs unless you are at that stage. Like, I don't recommend it, because you might have a clair that's really developed, but you don't know it. And so the minute that you go work with something that might open your energy even more, it's going to be really scary for you. Like, not that it's going to be bad, but it's going to be really scary, because you're going to see how powerful you are, and you're going to receive all this energy and emotion and like visions all at one time, and you may not have the capacity emotionally, physically, and mentally to be able to hold it, which is why you see people do healing journeys or shamanic journeys and they work with a guide, right? Like, it takes time to develop it, right? So a lot of the time when I am teaching people about their clairs, I work with them over a period of time, because, you know, even as you're healing, which is like step number one, you're learning how to meditate and you're integrating this into your life. And I see this a lot with my generational healing. There's going to be ebbs and flows of your emotions. So what goes up must come down, right? And it's the same thing with developing your gifts. Like, you're going to be feeling really, 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 really good. And then let's say it's a full moon and it illuminates things about you and you're feeling great and you're releasing all these emotions. And then some people realize that after the full moon or during that full moon phase, they may drop off really quickly. And it's because your body's trying to push out all this energy that it doesn't want anymore. And so you have to be able to allow your body to do that, but also understand what your body is doing and your energy is doing, so that you can still develop your clair and not like get stuck in that foundational area, right? And it takes a while, because some people, you know, like I said, for myself, depression, PTSD, anxiety, all of these things, like hitting that bottom was always really hard, because I felt like I had backtracked. but I wasn't. I was just releasing energy. And so that's why the meditation and detachment and mastering no thoughts is so important, because your ego at the bottom is going to kick in and invite you back into the past, right? So you have to learn how to sit above that and be able to just let energy flow out of you so you can leave it behind and move forward and call in newness. So it can be very complex actually when you start to develop your clairs and do your healing at the same time, because you see on social media a lot of people just saying like do X, Y, and Z to like do this and blah 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 blah, but it's like you're gonna shock yourself. One, and two, it's not gonna be consistent because you're not doing it in tandem with your healing work, which is what you need to do, because we're all heavily conditioned to believe, think, and feel a certain way. And so you have to do deconditioning work at the same time you're opening your gifts, right? And it's always best to do it with some sort of guide like myself, or a community that you can safely do that with over time. Which is why I wanted to start sharing about this. So again, if it's something you're interested in, I'm teaching, like it's going to be open forum. You can come with all of your questions and I'm just going to share what I know and coach you. It's going to be open coaching every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Pacific. And it's only $22. Like I'm making it as accessible as possible because I know a lot of people are awakening right now, and we need the love frequency, and many of us are light workers, like spiritual folk who are just here to love and help and be artists and, lift everybody up. So I wanted to make sure that you had what you needed. And so the last and third tip I have, which we kind of touched on, was building your body awareness. So in order for you to understand on a very deep level your clairsentience, you need to understand your body, because your body is constantly picking up information, and your mind, body, spirit all communicate with each other. And so your body is going to tell you when you are receiving information, when you're giving information, or when energy is activating within you and around you, right? So you need to, let's say, like if you want to do something easy, you can do body scans so that you can start to tap into this tiniest details of what your body is feeling at any given moment. And you do it so often that eventually you just do it naturally. And again, it starts to communicate with the rest of your clairs, and then before you know it, you're just gonna have this language of energy. Like it's a full language. And this is how I help a lot of my clients, even in one-on-one sessions. They don't even have to be in front of me. I can still feel what they're feeling. I can still see what they're seeing or hear what they're thinking, and talk to their ancestors at the same time and share info. It becomes like this huge flow. And I always know when my own energy is activating, because it's like literally someone electrocuted me through my entire body. And then it's almost like it like expands massively when I'm being activated. And so it can feel really overwhelming. But I love clairsentience. And, when you get to a point in your life when you do start to use herbal medicine, like on my generational healing journey, I have some of my clients use herbal medicine, but it's very light, like tea type things. And then at the end, they have a choice to take a journey with something else, right? And it's always at the end. And this journey is 6 months long. So at the end, when I know that they are fully equipped emotionally, physically, and spiritually, they can do what they want to do with the option of, going on that journey to expand themselves, to do this final connection with, Mother Earth, with Pachamama, with their ancestors, with, all of the energies, because they're ready for it, right? And it's just a really beautiful thing. And then, for myself, I don't go on a lot of journeys with plants because my clairs are so strong that I have to be very, 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 very mindful of what I interact with, which is why I don't always hang out with a lot of people sometimes, because I can feel everything at once and hear everything at once. And even if I try to shut it down, it feels like energy pressing, right? And a good example of what clairsentience can do once it's really developed, there's been moments in my life, and still are moments in my life, where I can feel the war and the chaos across the world, and I won't always know initially what it is, but I can hear it. Like when things were breaking out overseas, it was screaming. Like I could hear the screaming and I could feel it as if I was that person and multiple people at one time. And I had to like wrap myself in everything that I could in order to like ground down, because it was such a large vibration that it was shifting my energy so much. And I stay connected, and my clairs are so open that that is going to happen. And when I was in New Orleans, the first time that I had a spirit in my own body, that was like, just feeling that is wild. But then throughout the night and the longer that I was there, I was feeling energies of everybody. Like the darker it got, the more I was feeling the entire city, but of those who passed and of the house that I was in. So I was literally laying down, kind of rolling around, and I was, one minute I would be laughing, and the next minute I'd be screaming, and then the next minute it was like all of these things, and I couldn't do anything about it, because I was feeling so much and seeing these people at the same time and going all these places. So it's such a beautiful gift, but it can be very, very powerful. And I've done house cleansings as well, and that's how I'm able to tell the stories of spirits that are there, right? That's why I do it. It's the same thing when I do my time traveling, when I work with water in the bathtub, and I'll just start to cry, or I'll laugh, or I'll just sense it first with my feelings and say, somebody's really scared in here. Is it okay if I walk your house? Like it feels like there's a spirit that's stuck here. And then I'll go and find it, and they'll tell me their story of what happened, and I could feel everything, like down to the sweat. Like it's very interesting. And then when you can start to see through their eyes and you can start to hear everything, it's like they literally just take you back in time when you communicate with people who have passed, and then connecting with energies that maybe weren't human at one point is a whole nother clairsentient thing, because like it's a wild thing. Like feeling the emotions of someone like a deity like Diana, for instance, massive love, massive heart, but energy, like at first I felt like my skin was gonna pop. Like literally felt like my skin was gonna pop. And I'm gonna go into another video about how you can actually train your body to hold energies, because that's why you see a lot of cultures talk about, you can't have a weak mind, you can't have a weak spirit, you can't have a weak body, because energy is strong. Everything is energy. So it's like trying to like like when you plug in something, if you're traveling, right, you don't have the right adapter, and you plug in a fucking thing into the wall and it blows the circuit because it's too much energy. Like that's literally how it works with your body. Like you will not fry yourself, but you know what I mean. Like it'll become very overwhelming to the point where it's so uncomfortable, and it's lightweight, a little dangerous, but mostly because of your mental health, right? And there's also herbs and plants and mushrooms and things that you can eat along your journey, like just food that'll help you with that and stay grounded, especially as your gifts start to open. Because you're going to start seeing supernatural things. You're going to start interacting with supernatural things. You're going to start knowing things that you really shouldn't know. You're going to start like hearing things that you really shouldn't be hearing. And then you're going to realize that everything you speak starts to come true, and things come to you and people come to you. And then, you can manifest money, and like you're going to start to see things like really start to merge. And so you know, having a delicate state of mind is not always the safest. And, you know, having a physical body so that you can, or having a physical body that's moving, and body awareness allows you to shift energy out of you. Because what people are doing, you see a lot on social media, is they want to work with their clairs, but they have no fucking clue how to get the energy out of them. And so if you're just gathering information and trying to shove it in your body without any sort of container, without any sort of process to remove it, without any sort of protection, you're going to get overwhelmed. You're going to become really disjointed and like agitated and irritated and all these things, right? So that body awareness is going to be huge, right? And that connects with how often you can move your body, how often you can stretch, how often you can be with nature, like all of these things. But I really just wanted to share those 3 main tips. So again, it's the healing and mastering the state of detachment with meditation and having body awareness. And I'm going to continue to make some videos, but again, I invite you to come join Z School for the Gifted. It's going to be really fun, and I'm just really excited. And eventually I want to put everything into a Patreon so people can just access it whenever you want. And I'm going to try and keep as many recordings as I can and do special lives on there as much as I can as well. Because we are also, which I'm going to make another video about today, we are also shifting into, on the 19th, Pluto moving into Aquarius. And so a lot of people are stepping into their purpose, which includes a lot of people activating their clairs. And if you haven't already noticed, a lot of technology is acting really fucking weird right now. So I'm going to be explaining it and breaking it down in another video, so you have it before the 19th. But I am sending you lots of love, lots of hugs. Please be sure to like and subscribe, share this with your friends, anybody who has gifts. Comment below if this was helpful. Let me know if you have questions. I'm happy to make other videos. And again, join me on Tuesdays. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be an hour, and you can just do whatever you want to do in there. Bring questions, or even if you just want to hang out, drink some tea with Z, and some other folks, that place is going to be for you and for us to just come be in a good frequency for an hour. So have fun, take care of yourself, love your clairs, thank the universe for such beautiful gifts, and I will talk to you all soon.